First thing I saw on the list was Gnostic Baseball asking if we're going to be wearing pants tonight. What the hell? Where'd that come from? Said that at 7:50. Haha, that's crazy. How's my audio, guys? Sound check. I need coffee. Okay, good. Need to make sure. I need to make sure real quick. Does this sound like I'm talking into this microphone, or does it sound like I'm talking into my computer? I do believe my microphone's on. Sounds good. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is an adventure video. For those of you who don't know about fantasy role-playing games, you don't know about Dungeons and Dragons, I promise you're going to leave this video educated. And you're also going to hear how fantasy role-playing games actually simulate a whole new fractured reality that you can become a part of. Yes, if you don't know, if you've never played these games and you've never got fully immersed into the fantasy role-playing games. There's many of them. Dungeons and Dragons is not the only one, but there are many people who have done this since Gary Gygax and somebody else had created this fantasy role-playing genre with Dungeons and Dragons in the early 70s. I had the original paperback books, Dungeon Master's Guide, The Player's Handbook, Monster Manual. I had all these things. And then, of course, I played the second edition. Yes, you're talking to Jason of Archaix. And yes, when I was a kid, I was a nerd. And when I was in prison, I continued my nerdiness. So we'll get to that in a little while. You guys know I like to make a habit of letting people stack up. This entire month since we had the first Archaix meetup, and that one was located in Cowtown, Fort Worth at the Stockyards. This entire month following that, it has been a huge pattern break with Archaix. We've been doing different things. Everybody's on assignments. Listen, we have been breaking our necks busy with all kinds of activities. Jasmine in Japan has finished doing like 440 something videos, but she created a video archive link index where you can see the title of the video, a one-line description of tags of what the video is about, and a link how to get to that video quick. She did a very good job. Very good job. So I'm going to be putting that on the archaix.com website in the order so you can quickly find whatever videos you're looking for. It's a link index, and it's long. It's over 440 videos. So that's one project. Let's see. Chronicon has been digitized. And I sent Babette an email, but I haven't heard from her, I don't think. I haven't looked in the past couple of hours. Chronicon is over 600 pages with 868 different bibliographic sources. That's 868 different ancient and modern history books that were used to put Chronicon together. However, it's thousands of citations, and it's probably tens of thousands of mathematical calculations all throughout the text. History of the world, forward and backward in time. I'm waiting on an answer from Babette before we move forward on a project to make Chronicon, because all it takes is for me to put it on Podia, and I can make Chronicon available. The final Chronicon, not the PDF downloads, but this final Chronicon has all the new inserts, all the new research from years have been put into its proper perspective. I need to see. I need to confer with her before I move forward on that. So, two of my unpublished books have also been digitized. On the Origin of Demons and King of the World, Mighty Hunter of World Mythology. Basically about the 350 years following the Great Flood, the histories of the world, what happened at that time. So the Phoenix Thesis has been digitized. It's huge. I have to edit it down. It's too big. It's too big. I have to edit it down. Remember, I've been holding the Phoenix Thesis back because I've just been waiting for that one individual who thinks they have the intellectual capacity and the wherewithal to attack the thesis. I've been waiting on somebody to do it, and I don't seem to be getting any takers, which is a good thing. But I've been holding this Phoenix thesis project back, but it's been digitized. I'm going to edit it down because it's too much data. And it, the Phoenix is 138 years. The edits and the resets and how they're cleverly covered up with natural disasters, all the way up till 1902. We're expecting the next one in May 2040. So the Phoenix thesis is done. It needs to be edited down. It's way too big. So, and it has a lot of Phoenix material that has never been released on my YouTube channel ever, or in my published books. It's got a lot of stuff that, Babette was able to put a lot of this stuff together because she had all the notes, everything in the super pack and survival pack, and I just haven't had time to basically file all this and put it in chronological order. I just have my research goes far beyond my ability to demonstrate it. I just have too many notes. So I'm just giving y'all news updates. Archaix and Ophis, the date sequence predictive analytics software. These now have EINs and LLCs, corporate structure documents. Barry's been very busy working on that project. Barry's that guy with that deep Manchester, not Southern England, but Manchester accent. I can't replicate it. I'm just a good old, East Texas Southern boy, and I can't talk like them. Hell, I try to sound British and I piss all the Scots off. So I really even try. I shouldn't even try. So, let's see. Big John finished photographing the 3,000 plus black and white images that I have from the 270 books that I have in the Archaix library that are from the 1800s. And my library is growing. This does not include the thousands of PDFs of books that I have that I do not have in hardback cover. So John finished photographing those and he went straight into the next project. John is now currently editing down. He's going playlist through playlist. He's going through all the videos because we have copies of most of the videos, and he's going through those videos and he is chopping off the intros, the outros, all the call outs where I'm just talking to people in the chat before I start my videos, and he's sticking to the core fundaments, all the data, and he's basically chopping all my Phoenix videos up right now because we're going to turn those video clips not only into shorts, but we're going to turn them into fantastic 2 and 3 hour long presentations. So you don't have to listen to 65 to 85 hours of Phoenix presentations to get a good grasp of the Phoenix history and phenomenon. You'll have a 2 or 3 hour presentation to listen to, and it's me going through all the most powerful stuff. So you'll get to see about 40 of my t-shirts per video. Each video will have segments in different times talking about different things. Should be interesting. I'm gonna rewatch them. So that's what John's doing. He's on a real big project. Then he's gonna go to the Great Pyramid playlist, and then he's gonna go to the We Immortals playlist. He's gonna do the same thing for all of them. So Matt's engaged in making sure that we have copies of every single Archaix video, because I've done a lot of podcasts on other channels, and we need to get copies of those videos because it's a long list now. That I never did repost them on my own channel. So he's downloading all those from other channels where I was a guest and talking, while he's also getting all my latest 50 or 60 uploads because I don't have copies of them. But I know other people do, and that's all good. I know 2 different individuals that religiously download copies of. They use software to download, and that's good. That's good. But my own team should be doing that as well. So, because we're going to chop those videos up, and Matt's done a real good job also on securing for us a mobile studio suite. We had some extra money from a benefactor come in, and she provided us a means by which we could outsource. And this is why I have so many different people doing so many different projects full time. As far as Japan, as far as California, I got people doing different things. My publisher in San Diego just secured a very rare $600 book, and somebody donated the $600 to secure that book. And I'm pretty humbled by that. I really appreciate it. So there's our other benefactor had provided basically enough money for us to operate a whole month, paying everybody, all these subcontracts, different people doing different things. I have been able to send money to all these people that are helping, and we have gotten things done 10 times faster. Yeah, I can't believe everything. We have another benefactor, as you know, who provided us the Archaix search AI feature. And anybody can go to that video and go. I still need to put it on my uh, uh, Archaix.com website. I need to put it on there because it's working optimally. I don't know what they did, but that server actually can take a lot of traffic now when initially it kept crashing. So it's working really good now. I'm going to go ahead and put it on Archaix.com. But that same benefactor who wants to remain unnamed is an IT wizard. This same benefactor, and I'm telling you now, I do not know the identity of this person. I thought I did at one time, but it's not that person. I don't know who this is, but they designed that, and then they turn around and donated something else, which was a single file was sent to me that has the transcripts word for word for all 450 something of my videos. That is awesome. It's actually, the transcript, it's actually 10 different books. I could put all that together and make published books out of all that. But I'm not. I'm gonna provide a bunch of those as free PDFs on Podia for you to download. But a lot of these projects all coming in at the same time. Let's see. I've been talking so long. Make sure everything's okay with this chat. Make sure you guys y'all can still hear me. Yeah, all this great projects going on. It sure is. A lot of good stuff happening. I've been sick. I've been sick for like 3 weeks. My body feels great. I'm about to break one of my own cardinal rules and probably just go see a doctor. But I probably have I don't know. I believe in the homeopathic remedies. I believe in the herbs. I believe in the lemon tea, the Himalayan salt. I believe in all that, and those are really good and curative and preventive. But once something becomes an infection, it's really got to the point where I just need something stronger. And I don't seem to be coughing hardly at all unless I'm doing a bunch of talking. I do a bunch of talking, I start coughing. If I just shut my mouth, I don't cough all day. Okay. Thank you guys for hitting that like button. Always appreciate that. It's not necessary, but I heard a rumor that it does help, but it really doesn't matter. YouTube, I'm not impressed with YouTube. I don't see Archaix having a future on YouTube. That's why we're making plans right now. Let's see. So Justin, y'all met him at the meetup too. It's the one with the big old giant biker beard. Justin is engaged in data mining important items. A lot of things that occupy too much of my time. I can never release videos and do live videos if I'm always data mining. So now that he has a really good understanding of different projects and what I need, he's been invaluable. As a matter of fact, right before I started this live, he dropped this thumb drive off to me. This thumb drive has literally 5,000 years of history in chronological order, citing over 400 historical sources. It is the research of somebody who put together their own chronology of amazing things that have happened in the past 5,000 years involving sky phenomena and all these different. I'd never heard of this guy. He's fantastic. I don't even know if you can contact him anymore. I tried to email him. He didn't respond. His website is very old and very primitive, but the data was still on the website. So I had Justin go get it, because I know how when servers are rebooted, when they clean out servers from when people aren't paying for their websites anymore, they'll stay up for a couple of years and then they'll just disappear because they need that server for other purposes. So before that happened, I went ahead and preserved all that man's research. It's just like Chronicon, but without any anecdotes or narrative. It's just the fact of what was seen in the sky, what hit the ground, earthquakes, tsunamis, tidal waves going back 5,000 years, the year and the month that it happened, and the source. This is fantastic. Justin did that. Tomorrow he's gonna start another project which involves thousands and thousands of PDF files that I need him to sift through because I'm looking for stuff. All this is happening at rapid pace. I'm getting help from so many different directions, but also it also means that it taxes me because I have to choreograph all this. Yes, I've been organizing thousands of files and images that I've been getting from so many different directions. Martin Ledke, I had just sent him a package with some of my published books. We had a great live chat, and I sent him a thumb drive with the 3,000 black and white illustrations and photos that I have taken from my 270 books from the 1800s. I sent him a flash drive, and in exchange, he's going to be sending me a thumb drive in return that has a whole bunch of his images he's collected over the years, especially those alchemical treatises and grimoires that he's been collecting. I look forward to that. Barry and I met a couple that used to work for Hollywood, and they've done documentaries. They've done all kinds of little side gigs here and there. They've worked with some very prominent names, and you know many of the actors and directors that they have worked under. They are in semi-retirement from that type of lifestyle and have been doing other things, but Archaix came to their attention. They watched some of the videos. They decided that they want to do a documentary on my life from my childhood through my little criminal episode, all through my imprisonment, how I got out, built Archaix, all the way up. They want the documentary to go all the way up to the first meetup where our team and I personally met them. And we just had dinner with them today. I just got back, and might be why I'm coughing so much. I was going 80 miles an hour on my motorcycle back from the restaurant, sucking in all that humid air. I don't know. Got me. So yeah, that's what we did today. See the lapel mics. Yeah. Real quick. Now that we have our lapel mics, which were necessary for what we plan on doing, as soon as everybody's wrapping up the individual projects they're working on right now, we're all going to get together at 5 or 6 different locations, and we're going to begin mass recording. We have a whole list of topics we're going to be talking about. Barry, John, myself, Justin, Matt, probably invite a few other people here and there. We're going to fill up with Archaix on the road, Archaix uncensored, and Archaix hot mic. We're going to fill up those videos like I've been promising you guys. It's all on the table. This is what we're doing. I think my announcements are pretty much over. I appreciate the donations you guys have given me. I appreciate waking up in the morning and seeing a substantial donation in PayPal. You know who you are. Most of the people that donate don't want to be mentioned by name and all that, but you know who you are. I woke up and I saw it in there, and I'm very deeply appreciative of that. No, excuse me, not PayPal, Zelle. So, yeah, these things go far in my ability because I don't have Barry and myself are about the only ones working for free. We're making sure everybody, can pay their bills and do all this stuff while we move forward. Except for the benefactors. We have the benefactors, IT benefactors that are working for free, and there's just no way to repay them. Basically, if they charged us, we wouldn't be able to afford to pay them. Not right now, but those days are coming. So everything's coming together. I'm learning to delegate. Until this point, guys, I have done everything alone. Every single video that you have seen on YouTube that was by me was recorded by me. 100% of all the graphics you see are done by me. Any video clips are bought by me from Shutterstock. Yeah, I pay for my video clips from Shutterstock. I also pay for my images from 123rf.com and Shutterstock. I also pay for my music. All the music you hear on my channel, every bit of that's paid for. The copyrights are covered from Thessalian Studios. So I've never been good at delegating, but I'm doing that now, and everybody's doing a fantastic job, and it's freeing me, giving me the ability to spend more and more time uploading content to YouTube and preparing really good content. So, all right, that little spiel over. Let's look at this chat feed. Oh my God. I got my Dungeons and Dragons cap on. Man, I'm ready to go adventuring. You guys just don't know. I used to take people on trips. I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm going to tell you how it's relative to the world we're living in right now. Oh, let's see. All right. Well, I can't read all these. You guys know right now. It's we're breaking pattern this month. Matt's so busy doing things, and he's just we're not using the big studio right now. We might make a couple changes with the big studio. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking at the chat. I don't want to waste time with this chat. I appreciate you guys. Moderators, thank you for being here. Ryad Ali, JJ Recon, Phoenix Protocol, Pamela Swan. Well, I know you ain't going to miss nothing. Rhino from Texas. Who the hell's that? Let's see. Don Hart. The Rhino from Texas again. What's he doing here? Let's see. Jahar Ali. Okay. I think I appreciate you, moderators. And moderators, are there any moderators that we have on the list that have not participated in a long time? I know of one, and we need to figure out what happened to him. I hope nothing bad happened to him. He lives in Greece. I did a podcast with him. The Wolf, the something Wolf. Some of y'all know who I'm talking about. Good, really good guy, awesome personality. We haven't heard from him in a long time. I'm wondering if something happened to him because I haven't seen him on YouTube on his own channel. All right, let me drink this. All right. You can't play Dungeons and Dragons without the right little crystal ball. You know, these little crystal balls are awesome. They're awesome. They let you see all kinds of things. But Dungeons and Dragons is a game that requires each individual player to be able to make snap decisions in time. You have to time them. There's reason for that. So Dungeons and Dragons, some people get really, really into it. Now in prison, we weren't allowed to. It was more cerebral. It was all pen and paper and tiles. But out here in the free world, people dress up, put on their costumes. They got all kinds of stuff. They get their little old crystal daggers out because the undead don't like them. You can do a lot with a crystal dagger. But aside from the crystal dagger, sometimes you come across situations in Dungeons and Dragons where you got to use your spears. If you don't have a spear, you won't have the proper tool to deal with whatever situation is thrown at you. So you got to have that spear. Now, I'm just showing y'all a few props just to let y'all know I was ready, because spears are really good for the monsters, and spears are good for things that are unanticipated. Spears are an excellent defensive weapon to keep things away from you, but you need to get real up close and personal. You need the old short sword, because the short sword takes care of everything. This is a real sword. This is not for playing Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, this will hurt you. So, and when you come across those special creatures, special situations, things like magecraft and sorcery, and you want to cut through that, you got to have a magic blade. When you have a magic blade, you can solve problems that sorcery and magic cause. So, yeah, this is Mage Slayer. That's what this is. And of course, I always got my spell books. I got all of them on the wall behind me. I got a bunch of spell books. And anytime I need to investigate anything, I got my little old magic glass. I can see anything I need to see. So now that I'm prepared to deliver this video, I got my all-weather cap on and my glasses, my chronometer, my t-shirt, and I got my magic amulet of protection right here. Silver, so I'm not worried about those werewolves and vampires. Christina the Astonishing, I see you. I know you dance with swords. So, fantasy role-playing games. They they for those of you who have never experienced this, the dungeon master is someone who is not actually playing the game, but in a way he is. The dungeon master is the one that sits at the table and tells 2, 3, 4, 5 players what they see, what they hear, often what they feel. He presents the world to them, and it's all oral. They listen, and in their imagination, they construct the very architecture of basically the imagination that is coming out of the dungeon master. Everybody at the table begins to vibrate at the same frequency. There is a level of excitement that takes over all the participants. I'm not making this up. I have participated in this over and over. Not only is an informed field, the dungeon master is an informed field that tells the players, listen, everything in this village is quiet. There is evidence all over the stone court that rapid footprints have gone through the dust recently, but it's only one pair of footprints. There are no evidence of animals, bird sounds. Only 4 or 5 stone buildings are still standing. This has been abandoned for a very long period of time, and yet there is a stench, a foul stench in the air. The players just exited a forest, and this is what they see in a field. So the first thing, this picture is built, and everybody at the table is basically seeing their own version of this environment, which is put out by a single individual. The dungeon master, the game master. Different role-playing games call this individual different names. In Dungeons and Dragons, he's the dungeon master. In other RPGs, he's just the game master. But he puts out the visual imagery, and the players receive it, build that world in their mind, and in some type of cerebral interface magic starts taking over. And what I mean is the individual players become sinking so much that the more they listen to the same game master present all kinds of more evidence and things, he's basically a substitute for their senses, what they hear, what they see, what they feel. But he throws the clues out, and they all start vibrating on the same frequency, and they begin to imagine the same details in the same way. This isn't normal. This is what takes over. There's a dynamic operative in this phenomenon where a person is presenting a world. It's a fantasy world. He's making it up. But he's got the details in a book or on paperwork that he has written himself. He knows that the great clue here is that the whole courtyard is filled with dust, and you can see footprints of one person that just rapidly went through there recently. That tells you this place has been abandoned for a very long time, but there is an occupant who's here right now. So this individual paints this world, and the receivers, the players, they in turn project in their mind a visual of the very world that this person just spoke into existence. The real phenomenon here is that by virtue of imagination, people can immerse themselves into a false reality and feel the same emotions and the same intellectual stimulation as the real world, because the human spirit doesn't recognize a difference. When the avatar isn't the one seeing something, and the avatar right here isn't the one hearing something, the avatar isn't the one smelling something. When this data is given to the soul that occupies an avatar, It allows that soul to imagine those things as if that avatar really experienced them. For those who know what I'm talking about, you know that when you deeply get into the fantasy role playing genres, the different gaming systems, you create your character. You might want to be a half elf archer. So, your points that you have to spend in the beginning of the game to build your character, you focus on everything that's going to promote you to be able to rapid shoot your bow, to be able to fletchery, to make arrows, be able to repair your bow, to be able to do a dead shot, to blind shoot in the dark just by listening to where an adversary could be. You choose your special abilities and your traits with care, because in your mind you're a half elf archeress. And being a half elf archeress gives you certain qualifications and things that give you advantages over other characters. Because another person in the party is a 7 foot tall, half orc human barbarian. And nowhere this individual goes with a 19-inch foot can he be quiet. But you're a half elf archeress, half elven, half human. You're very light, agile, able to hide quickly, and you can walk over even broken twigs and leaves relatively quietly. Each individual person that participates in this group dynamic chooses a character that their spirit wants to experience. Their spirit is guiding the choices. They want to be a human fighter paladin who only exercises violence for good or for holy causes. So they spend their points on strength and in dexterity, and they want a higher constitution so they can stay healthier. They can hold their breath longer. So they choose special abilities that have things to do with monks and priests and all that, because they're not just a warrior, they're a holy warrior. The individual spirit sitting at a table, excuse me, with all these options, goes through the books and chooses what that spirit wants to experience and builds a character, which is a character sheet. That character sheet is now a part of the law of the game. That character sheet defines how fast or how potentially fast a person can be or react. It's a measure of intelligence and charisma and constitution and dexterity and strength. These things are quantifiable, and they're given to the character by the person who is choosing these variables, because they're fixed within limits. If they want to be a priest, a cleric, they must choose certain packages, certain abilities. There's a lot of choices, there's a lot of mixing you can do. But when it's done, that's how you start the game. And the dungeon master knows there's a priest, there's a half elf archeress, a female, there's a 7 foot tall, half orc, half human barbarian, there's a human 5'10" paladin, which is a holy knight in this group. And there's one dwarf who's 3'9", and he wields a gigantic warhammer that has a magical spell on it that makes it 10 times heavier 1 second before impact. This group of 5 are going out on an adventure. But I'm telling you guys right now, for those who have never experienced this level of imagination, those who have never experienced the building of a pseudo reality and the experiencing of that reality with a small group of people, you have no idea what comes over that group. It's a spell. It is an interactive dynamic where this small group of people are now pretending to be this other group, and they work together and they stay in character and they abide by the rules on their character sheets. They have to use those weapons, those special defenses, those special abilities, and the individual actions on their individual turns must comport with the abilities that are within the confines of the character that they've chosen, and the character sheet reflects all those numbers. These 5 characters are no longer the people who work at Kroger, the local mechanic shop, the retiree who hasn't worked in 17 years and is 80 years old and still refuses to kick the bucket. These individuals come from all walks of life. They come together and they become a force to reckon with. They totally immerse themselves into this fantasy world that is presented to them through the mind of another soul. That soul is the game master. And the game master, he or she, presents them the terrain, presents them the choices, basically throws the mystery before them, and there's things that they've got to solve. The game master has access to all kinds of books and note keepers and binders and stacks of paper. He's got a screen in front of him with all kinds of charts, and he knows what's in the abandoned tower. He knows that if the rubble is moved from the floor, a trap door will be seen and a basement will be revealed that's full of old weapons and provisions and ancient food stuff that's already petrified. Yet there's coins in there that have been scattered because somebody's already been there before them and died from a clever trap. And there's skeletons down there, and the coin pouch that they had on their belt is down there too. He also knows that the young woman whose bare feet made those tracks is hiding in an adjacent building. And he knows that she's going to scream bloody murder as soon as her hiding place is found, and she's going to stab out with a stick. But these individuals don't know all that. And one of them might make the wrong decision, and quickly, when it's their turn, okay, dwarf, it's your turn. What are you going to do? And as soon as he tells the game master, well, I'm going to open up this door right here, the game master is going to give that dwarf what's called a saving throw. It's just to see if he's going to be able to not do what he had just said he's going to do, because the dwarf's reflex is going to be hit that girl with a hammer when he gets poked in the face with a stick. So hourglass gets turned, everything's very fast, a spin is done or a roll of the dice is done, and those dice determine if that dwarf is going to be able to resist instinct, which is pummeling that young girl to death with that hammer. So this is just one situation. The game master also knows that if that girl is not killed and she's allowed to speak, it's going to be found out that she was kidnapped, she escaped her kidnappers, and there is probably a real handsome reward because she's the daughter of a jeweler from a rather large town by a river. The game master knows all these details. The individuals don't. They've got to learn them. It's all trial and error. They gotta think with wit. The game master makes up the world, but he too is restricted by whatever campaign he's going by, unless he's just freestyling, which is something I used to do a lot. This dynamic that I'm discussing is so real. I'm telling you right now, guys, that 4 or 5 people can huddle around a table in maximum security, and they can listen to my voice paint for them this elaborate world, and they can be hanging on everything that I say. And my imagination is on fire, and I'm telling these guys all these details, but I'm holding back everything that they wouldn't know without proper investigation, or unless they made intuitive rolls. So I'm holding all this information back, but there is a force dynamic operative that puts us in our own world. I've done this over and over and over, where we would sit around a maximum security day room while 50 guys are screaming at a basketball game on TV. while another 10 guys are over here fighting in the corner because it's Friday night fights. And this is what they want to do, mostly youngsters. And then other people are slamming dominoes because that's what they do. They don't care about what anybody else thinks. It's what they do. I mean, no matter how many times you tell them to not to do it, if you ask them not to slam the dominoes, they're going to slam everything stainless steel and concrete in prison. So, I mean, I don't know what it is about these dudes and their dominoes, but they can't win a game without taking the dominoes and slamming them hard and often busting them in half. They're absolutely destructive. Hey, you know what? My personal opinion is a bunch of them belong there. Need to stay there. So, having said that, in this same environment, every bit of this noise, chaos, violence, potential for violence, all this around us is gone because there's a field created in our environment. It's no different than the biblical verse, when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am before them. It's talking about a force, a soul. It's the same dynamic. Even out here in the free world, people who assume a false identity to engage in a false experience become emotional, invested, and interactive for real. There's nothing false about it. There's nothing artificial about it. They are actually experiencing, working together to solve mysteries, fighting to save each other's lives. Because a game master is going to throw enemies. Oh yeah, those Trollocs are coming, and they got old flint axes and stuff. But they ain't sharp axes. But they don't have to be sharp when it's a 400-pound troll swinging one at you. It'll kill you in one hit. So. And they got their own character sheets, and their character sheets show that even a weak swing would kill a human-sized individual, especially a half-elf archeress. So this dynamic that takes over people in an imaginative scenario is a great key to understanding the informed field and what is really happening in our lives today. As a game master, I have done hundreds of games. John knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's in the section right now. And for years, I kept all these kingdoms and all these worlds I built, and it ended up becoming something. I became literally famous wherever, any prison I was at, because people knew there were 2 things that I would do, and the same thing happened in both circumstances. One of them is I would run RPGs. And people from other cell blocks would come out of place. And sometimes I'd have 8, 9, 10 people around the table, some of them just listening. They wanted to experience it. And we would go through these campaigns, and some of these campaigns would last 11, 12, and 13 months, playing 5, 6, and 7 times a week. And we would just get totally in. The real world is no longer real to us. It's only a vehicle to get us all in the same day room, because once we're all in the same day room and vibrating on the same frequency, the real world is gone. We are all now in a fantasy world of my construction, and they're going through it. I'm having a blast. They're having a blast and mesmerized. They see and feel everything I describe. And they suffer when they make the wrong decisions, or when they get a bad roll from the dice or the spinners, whatever we're using at the time. People are equally emotional about what happens to their character, which is a total invention, more so sometimes than what happens to them in real life. Let me explain. Living in the fantasy world, totally divorced from the problems of our real physicality, what we say is real. In the fantasy context, everybody forms these bonds of friendship that are strong. People begin to live in character in the game. The soul of each individual is invested in that artificial character, but that character takes on real traits. Characters care for each other. They want to look out for each other. There sometimes greed comes out. Sometimes envy comes out when they overcome their enemies, and then it's time to divvy up the treasure and divvy up the magic items, and envy takes over, just like in real life. But often when we were playing, people would refuse to go to lunch. Then dinner would come up, last chow would come up, and people would not want to go. They would allow their avatars to go hungry. I could hear stomachs growling. People did not want to leave the fantasy world. They wanted to stay, and they didn't care what it did to their avatars. They did not care that the stainless steel seats in prison put whelps on your ass that hurt for days. They didn't care. They didn't care about the backaches and the headaches of leaning over a table and in this huge world of noise trying to hear each other in this game, because what was going on in the game had become more real than what was going on externally outside of us. We were gone. We were lost. We had built a world within a world, and then we were living in it day after day after day after day. In the Dungeons and Dragons context, this was absolutely real for everybody involved. And when a character got critically injured or died, guys, let me tell you, imagine somebody who has been sentenced to 40 or 50 years in prison and didn't cry, went to prison, did all kinds of things, been beat up several times, had a hammer at the maintenance department go upside their face, got scars for it, lives in prison 10 or 12 years. They know they got another 20 years to go before they have a chance of getting out, and they know that prison has really become their retirement home, because they're not looking forward to getting out in their 60s and 70s. Life's over for them. So they don't have a retirement, a 401k or anything like that. Imagine somebody who has spent 10 months building up a character, and they're level 22, level 23. They started at level 0, and they have acquired all these experiences. They are no longer associating themselves with their avatar. It's merely a vehicle to get them to the table with Jason. And imagine when I do everything I can to undo different things in the game, but the game is strictly going by rules, and this character does something foolish, and no matter what I do as the game master, the numbers don't lie, and everybody at the table sees that that man's character died. You may be listening to my voice right now thinking that's just stupid. It's just a game. It's all that. I'm telling you now, there's a place called the Fat Ogre in the Woodlands, Texas, on Sawdust right now, where there are people that have this exact same experience and mentality. They're not in prison. They totally immerse themselves. They're gaming there all the time. Listen, I've been there several times. John's been there with me. Listen, guys, it is real. When the morning when these people feel like a part of their soul has died. And I'm telling you that that's exactly what has happened, because this is a artificial reality that we turned into a pseudo reality. And then we immersed ourselves into it, where it became an alter reality. But it's just as real, because our emotions, our decisions, and the consequences are all real. And when that man's character died, it stole something from him. And he cried, and he mourned for weeks. And he's just one guy that I remember. Guys, it's serious. It's serious. It's the dynamic that comes over people with these role-playing games, because they associate themselves to the fantasy character that they've built. And these fantasy characters, they take on substance to the soul. Yeah, our avatars are just vehicles for a soul. The creative aspect of our reality is the spirit. And in these role-playing games, it's the spirit that's living in another avatar of that individual's creation. Yeah, a world within a world. And sometimes, because of the situations that unfold in these role playing games, situations occur where they go into another alternate reality. Then, an individual soul in our reality has now immersed themselves into a world confined within another world. people People have developed psychoses behind the things that have happened to them in a fantasy scenario. But the psychosis is real. The emotions and the emotional bonds and ties that are developed between friends, kindred souls in the game fall in love. Guys, I've seen it happen. Yeah, you can call it bromance, you can call it whatever. You've seen it happen. The soul is free to express itself in the fantasy world in ways unlike it can do in our restrictive dungeon programming world. Because in this world, we're all told what roles we have to play. I'm a guy, I got to do masculine things. Girls got to do feminine things. And then they have their proper context. Uh, uh, I'm not a Satanist, so I have to at least be pseudo religious. You know, I mean, we have these conformances that we basically have to abide by. I'm not a liberal, so I have to demonstrate my conservative values. So, but in the fantasy context, all that's gone. In the role playing games, and I know that there are many of you listening to my voice that engaged in this activity and you know what I'm talking about. You know how real that these things can be. I wasn't just a game master. Way before I became a game master, I was doing the very things I'm describing now. I was listening to another soul tell me what kind of world I was in after I had spent the time to choose all the variables to make a character, an avatar that I could actually travel that pseudo world in. And it was all built for me. And every day it became more and more real. It became so real that I didn't want to eat. I didn't care how thirsty I was. I couldn't get away from the table because this is what mattered. If the half elf archeress had been poisoned by a trap, and I'm playing a wizard who should have seen the trap, then in the game I'm gonna feel bad. And my character in the game is going to start spinning. I'm going to go through my manifest. I'm going to be going through all my list and all my special abilities and all my spells in my spell book. And I don't care if I was reserving some of this special stuff for some future deal where I would acquire some gain, maybe overcome a monster and take his treasure. It's all different now. I'm guilty. I feel terrible. This girl, I am now going to sacrifice wealth, prestige, and opportunity just to use some of my resources to make this better. And I'm going to heal her, which is going to take away from things that I can do in the future in the game. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to use those spell components. I'm going to go ahead. It's not a waste anymore because now I'm emotionally invested. I have bonded with this other character, and I may not give a damn in the real world to the real individual sitting on the other side of that table. It doesn't even matter anymore because we have entered this pseudo reality where our spirits are enjoying avatars in a false reality that has become real to us. And we're able to suspend our dislike for the real individuals who are sitting around the table because in the game, we have developed friendships. We have developed social bonds and sometimes even developed love. So, my point in this presentation is because if we can build a false reality and then experience it the same way we do what we think is the real reality, if we can get hurt in a fake universe of our own construction and then feel all the negative emotions that attach to that pain and that hurt and that loss, How much more can we build our own reality and just claim it's the real thing instead of a false reality where we want to play dolls and play grown-up dolls and pretend and be a live action figure living in a artificial movie of someone else's mental construction. If these are true when we intend to build false worlds, then how much more true is it for the highly individualized soul, their informed field, to actually build a world and then believe in it? What's the difference? That's my presentation here. This wasn't about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm illustrating a point. And the other scenario that I was talking about earlier wasn't role playing games at all. In prison, I used to do the same thing by gathering a bunch of guys without referring to any books or anything, and I would tell them whole historical stories. I would just go off and go deep off into the historical narratives, and people would listen spellbound. Sometimes they'd interrupt me with questions, but it's the same thing. That same dynamic of souls interacting with one another gets those souls to override the physical world. And what I mean by override the physical world is sometimes we'll be on the rec yard on a park bench, because they got the benches on the rec yard, and I'll have guys around me, and I'll just be giving a dissertation, and we'll go so deep, and the officer will sit there and yell chow time, and we know we've already been on the rec yard 2 hours, and we know if we don't go in for chow and they shut that door, then we're not going to eat till tonight, later in the afternoon, if we skip lunch. But it doesn't even matter. When the guys find out that I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep talking, they stay there. They have completely sacrificed the comfort of the avatar for what they don't even know is a spiritual phenomenon. They're being spiritually fed. So if we can build false realities and even portray them as false and yet still feel real phenomena, how much more are we able, by virtue of our informed fields and the interaction with the holofield, the oversoul, the ability to create a world that we want to experience without creating an alter ego that's going to do the experiencing? We're going to create our own world, and we're going to live through it. There is no difference. There's none. The reason the fantasy role-playing games, RPGs, are so successful, the reason so many people, when we have video games, we have all these dynamic virtual reality games, all amazing games now, and all kinds of game systems, and yet still there is an element of the population that are still buying the role-playing hardback books and playing the verbal way. The reason is because these people get exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. Those books allow an individual to build a world and then send other souls straight into it. And that world becomes so real to those individuals that the actual world they came from begins to lose context, meaning, and importance. They don't care. They done found something where emotions are more tangible, they're more real. They have found value in the false reality where they can do amazing things and yet still suffer the consequences of their actions if they mess up. Yeah, guys, I have seen guys turn into mice when their characters die in these false reality games. I've seen it. It's not because they're mentally unbalanced and all that. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that this world, for a lot of people, is just a place to escape, because they haven't realized that everything they need to build a whole new reality, the ingredients, are right here. They're right here, and they've been with us all along. This is what my entire We Immortals playlist is about. It's about this very phenomenon here. And the Dungeons and Dragons role playing scenario is merely an example of the same phenomenon that I have been telling you guys from the beginning. Our soul is an informed field, and it does not need to create everything. In fact, the more it tries to anticipate, the further it drives away what it wants to anticipate. Because remember, if the end of something is secure already, and the dream of the soul is already secure, then all the steps leading up to that are secure as well. This means the highly individualized, informed field, you and me, all we have to do is imagine what we want and then begin to act as if it already exists. And the very act of going in the direction of the fulfillment is all that's necessary, because instantly the simulacrum will begin to knit the circumstances in your life to bring into your experience what was only in imagination previously. And the whole phenomenon that I have described to you in this video of the fantasy role-playing games is precisely what is happening in my We Immortals playlist throughout all my teachings. That's what's going on. It's that simple. So that's my presentation. We can go into Q&A after I drink some of this water. Oh, wow. My presentation was an hour. Well, I started it late because I had news and announcement, but I kept it at an hour. Man, it's awesome. So I got my crystal dagger for you trolls out there. I miss my trolls. You know that, man? I really miss those guys. They're so cute. All right. Hey, Jasmine, I see you made it live. Please answer my email. I just sent you an email last night. Yes, use all caps for your questions. And Christina the Astonishing, expect an email from Barry pretty soon. He's got a project for you. I think you'll like it. Let's see. Pamela Salt Swan, we're locked and loaded. Julia Yarte, where do I find there's power in the groves? You need to listen. You need to go to one of my videos where I'm announcing. It's only like 2 minutes long, but I'm announcing the Archaix search feature. In the search feature, in the search bar, just put groves. There's power in the groves or trees, and that video will pop up. But I do have a single video that explains Druid magic. It explains the informed field and how it interacts with a tree, and how if you feel that your personal informed field is too weak and you're not a good broadcaster for whatever reason, if this is your belief, that's fine. Because remember, whatever you impose as a restriction becomes restrictive to you. This is you are the law. So that's okay. That's okay. Because a lot of people believe that time has to elapse before they can ever get anything in life that they really want. And because of that belief, time has to elapse. So if you believe that you're not a powerful broadcaster, well, the secret about trees is that they will amplify anything your informed field is projecting. You have to understand, a tree has leaves or needles. Those are tens of thousands of little resonators. It's all about frequency. That trunk is a gigantic antenna, and it is grounded by thousands of roots and They go underground. The tree is interconnected with every other tree in the forest. Therefore, they touch underground. This whole network is all interwoven with each other. Some roots touch and meld into others, and the trees exchange data. They exchange information. This has been proven. The informed fields of trees have been shown to change under different whatever equipment they were using to monitor them. When a tree was burning a mile away, trees had a definitive reaction. There's an energy field to them. You can tap into that. Trees can magnify what the human is already projecting. Use them wisely. My video goes into that. It's not something for everybody. There's a lot of people who will enter that dynamic with some skepticism, and that too is restrictive, and that skepticism will be justified. Remember, we live in a reactive hologram, and by living in a reflective hologram, we live very reactive lives. And if you're living a reactive life, you're never projecting anything. But if you're living in a reactive life, because we exist in a reflective hologram, what is happening when you doubt? You're creating situations in your life that will amplify your own belief that something is not true. Yeah, you are reinforcing a negative, is what you're doing. Rabbit 42, when is the TV channel launching? I gave announcements at the beginning of this video. I was explaining that everybody is on different projects. This is what we're doing right now. This is why you've only seen me in live videos all month. I said we are busy. Right? Everybody's holding their own. Robin's been working with Barry, and all the guys have been working with me, and I've been giving them project after project after project. They've been taking care of them. We're in overdrive right now, and we'll be into next month. But despite that, I'm never going to stop uploading videos to YouTube until YouTube kicks me off. But that's whether that happens or not. I mean, at this point, I really don't care, because once Archaix TV comes up, we'll spread out to Rockfin and Rumble and everywhere else. It really doesn't matter. I'm not impressed with YouTube, especially after 4 days ago when they published a new upgrade to their monetization and creator content deals. YouTube is now imploding. Yeah, they have lost so many quality podcasters and content creators that they've basically stuck with a bunch of mainstreamers, and people aren't watching them. Yeah, guys, for those of you who don't know, the number of subscribers is no longer the litmus test to a successful channel. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. They have tweaked the algorithm so bad that they are losing people to other platforms. And this is why Rockfin, this is why Rumble, this is why True Social, this is why Getter, this is why Reddit. There's more. Clout Hub. That's why they're all blowing up. YouTube is killing itself. All these rule changes, more and more restrictive, becoming more and more totalitarian. So I don't like it. I don't like what I've been reading. They're finding all different kinds of ways, basically, to scare you into not talking about certain subjects by taking away your money. I'm not worried about it. YouTube doesn't pay me a whole lot. Screw YouTube. But YouTube is the algorithm no longer cares about subscribers. It doesn't give a damn how many subscribers you got, because I'm going to tell you now, you can go look at many channels that have over 1 million subs, and you can see in their analytics that they don't get near as many views as I get a month. Archaix is hitting 900,000 to 1 million views every 28 days. It's in my analytics. So even all I have is 100,000 subscribers, but I'm still getting the views of channels that have 1 million subscribers. Subscribers don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. YouTube really needs to overhaul its entire system. YouTube needs to delete as a subscriber every individual who has not returned to a channel in the last 6 months. Yeah, you've got 10 and 14-year-old channels that have 5 million subscribers, but nobody's watched that channel in 2 years. All the videos are old. No, they need if they want to resurrect their channel, they need to start applying. But believe me, if they gave me the reins, man, I could bring YouTube to the forefront. One of the first things they would have to do is, if somebody has not clicked on to any of your videos in the last 6 months, the algorithm should automatically unsub them. If that was going on, you would see Archaix have a lot more subs and other channels not. Yeah, there's a lot of little tweaks that could be done, but it seems like they're doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. They're killing themselves. All right. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. I really do. I have not pushed these in a long time. In the description box, and as soon as the video is over, in the pinned comment, for those of you who don't know, I have hundreds of charts on PDFs. I have a lot of free downloads too on Podia. The Podia links. You can go to anything that I sell on Podia. You can go to that link and then just go to the homepage of Podia, and you can see all my free stuff. But I've got a lot of books, content, downloadable super packs, downloadable survival packs. I got a lot of things, guys. It's you can get, and like right now, like I'm telling you, it's not a priority. You remember when I started my channel, it was a priority for me to make these announcements and because I needed that money. I wasn't monetized in sales. Now that I'm monetized, I still don't make the money you think I do because I have disabled all the mid-roll ads. I do not want ads to break up my content. At the beginning of the video, YouTube throws an ad or 2 or 3 in there. I ain't stopping that. But all the ads in the middle of my videos, they are disabled except for 4 videos I have no control over because copyrights are owned by other podcasters. But other than that, I've got over 430 videos that have no ads in them. Because it's not even about the money, guys. I'm not going to have my content butchered like that. YouTube's bad about that. So, but for those of you who are interested in those charts, they're all in the links. You can go to Podia, you can go to Gumroad, all that. And I really do. I need to thank some of you. Some of you have taken the time after ordering my books on Amazon, because I was viciously attacked by a group of people. I don't know who they are, but a group of people all basically at the same time went to all my books on Amazon and just put comments, gave me 1 star and comments that aren't even relative to the books. You can tell they didn't read the books. They just ordered the book so they could be a verified customer, and then that allowed them to attack me on Amazon. And I have negative views on some of my books because of these people who have attacked me. But it's okay. It's okay. You guys have undone that. I really appreciate that. 4 of my books in the last month were in the top 100 of their genre. I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I couldn't believe it. Because, you know, when you look at the sales ranks on Amazon, you can go look at any book on sales ranks and scroll down and you'll see the sales ranks. You will find like Lost Scriptures, When the Sun Darkens, Giants on Ancient Earth. You'll find, what's the other one? The newest book I released was Awaken the Immortal Within. I couldn't believe them. All 4 books were within 100 of their genre. Some of them are ancient mysticism, Egyptology. Some of them are like self-help, spirituality. You know, they're within their genre. But to make the top 100 of a genre, I never would have believed that was possible for me. Not with all the people viciously attacking. Some people read my books and they just attack. So, I really appreciate those of you who have taken the time, because in the last 30 days, every one of my books on Amazon has received many, many favorable deals, and it raised my ratings up, and I really appreciate that. I was looking at them the night before last, and I was almost had tears. I was like, wow, you guys have undone all this damage they did to me. But yeah, I used to never push my Amazon books because I was just getting attacked. But yeah, I really appreciate that, guys. It's and any of you who have ever ordered books from Amazon or have read the books and you want to go leave reviews, hey, by all means, be honest. If you read Lost Scriptures of Giza, then just be honest. Just one little sentence. Believe me, that helps. It helps. So, speaking of fantasy roleplay, when will we see book 3 of the Phalorn Saga on YouTube? Oh, it's right here, guys. It's right here. I got to upload it. I've been so busy. I'm so busy. Listen, you know what? I tell you what. I tell you what I'm going to do for you right now. Book 3 of the Phaelorn Saga starts tomorrow. I'm going to spend the next 3 days uploading this whole book. For those of you who don't know about the Phaelorn Saga, I wrote a 7-book epic fantasy series where I incorporated my beliefs. I invented whole races of fairies. It's a fairy apocalypse. There is a paperback book that I have on Amazon that you can order, which is basically the Chronicon for Dagathar. Dagathar is the world of the fairies, but it's no longer the world of the fairies. Now men have taken over, and the whole story is leading toward a fairy apocalypse. And it's all about the return of the broken moon. And the story is very deep. It's very emotional. There are many people in this chat who have listened to all of book 1 and book 2. And there are some people who have even ordered the Kindle versions on Amazon. But the paperback is actually a compendium of 10,000 years of history in chronological order of all the characters in the story, because most of the characters in my story are all over 10,000 years old. The fairies do not age. So it's all their interrelationships and how the fairies are no longer together. They're at war. All the different splintered all the different factions. Yeah, there's like 19 different factions of fairies. They're all spread out, and what all their griefs and grievances are with each other. How it all came to pass. I have a whole history book explaining everything, which is basically leading up to 10,000 years of history that leads up to the 7-book Phaelorn Saga. So my other YouTube channel is called the Phaelorn Saga. It's easy to find. There's already over 4,000 subs on it. And if you haven't started listening to it, I'm telling you, you're probably going to like it. On your leisure time, just listen to it. Those of you who have, you can leave comments here what you think. But I promise you, since you mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and upload book 3 starting tomorrow. Go ahead and upload it starting. I've just been so busy. But I do have, I can devote 3 days to that. There's no doubt. I had made a promise on Amazon. It's still posted on Amazon. But I had made a promise that if anybody gets through book 1, I promise you that the Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones, Star Wars, and Dune would be competitors to the Phaelorn Saga. I'm not saying the Phaelorn Saga is going to be better than all those, but I'm telling you it's going to be a competitor because the story is awesome. I wrote the entire story after I was caught with a cell phone, and I was sent back to maximum security a 4th time. And I was on close custody, didn't have a whole lot to do. So I just spent a few years building this whole story, and it just came out of me. My Dungeons and Dragons days was over. So now I was using my imagination to build an entire world. Once I had built that whole world, then I put a narrative to it in characters. And that's what it is, the Phaelorn Saga. Hey, Wendy Flores, you just pop in? I just saw your name for the first time. Let's see. All right, so you got that. You wrestled that promise out of me. Who was that anyway? Speaking of that was Shanna Tarvin Pace. All right, I've never seen your name before, Shannon, but you got that. You wrestled that. Oh, I have seen you, Shannon. I've seen your profile. Okay, she did that. Jason, what year do you think was the perfect balance of technology and freedom? Man, if you're okay. 2 different concepts. One is freedom, one is technology. You're trying to bridge the two. I'm going to say that I don't know, but I suspect it would have been sometime in the 1870s, 1880s. Let's see. I don't know, Matt J. I don't know what your dreams are. Dreams of cataclysms when you were a small child. I don't know if it's retrocognition. I don't know. I don't know if it would have. I mean, You are listening to my voice and experiencing the passage of time in a linear capacity right now, which is the best way I can describe it. However, in a true holo field, everything in the future is equally distant to everything in the past. Our souls are immersed into a medium experiencing this time dilation in an avatar. That avatar is basically of the construct itself. Our physical body and the construct itself, the world around us, is all part of one system. And this is where a lot of the confusion comes. People believe that their avatar is independent of the world they're living in. It's not. Our individual bodies are just as much a part of the very system that we experience on a day-to-day basis. Everything around the whole holofield around us that we perceive as physical objects is just as real as our avatar. What is not a part of the holography around us is the soul, the informed field. It's trapped inside the avatar. It is moored to the avatar by virtue of the most incredible, technologically sophisticated interface of the central nervous system. You can call it biology all you want, but the human design is a parasite. Humans are the only mammals that require assisted births. Every other mammal, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, we help other animals with their births, but we didn't always help them. Horses used to be wild. Cattle's always been wild. All mammals have had no problem surviving giving birth to more mammals. Humans require an assisted birth, an umbilical cord that needs to be tied off. And when a woman is ovulating and she drops her egg, the egg acts as a parasite and attaches itself to the uterine wall. This is not normal. Then a man's semen, impregnates the egg and all that. This strange, unusual avatar that humans have seems to be an amalgamation of all the best parts of the animal kingdom. But in and of itself, we could have never developed from primate hominids. We would have never been able to do that, and still humans being born the way we are. No, we were manufactured. That's the only explanation for our condition the way we are. We were manufactured, and the central nervous system's interface with the soul is so technologically advanced, it actually bridges the psyche with the simulation. I'm not going to sit here and try to break this down in terms that would be more understandable and try to make myself sound more intelligent than I really am, because there's really no way to explain all this outside the context of the way I just described it. We can invent words all day long and promote confusion, but when we lower things down to the lowest common denominators, what we have is a central nervous system that jacks our awareness, our informed field, our soul, our intellect, whatever you want to call it, into this avatar. And when that central nervous system is damaged, the processing power, the neural link to the soul itself is damaged as well. And you can't process information right. You are autistic, Parkinson's disease. There are different ways you're processing information, totally different. The damage, the reason I call it sophistication technology is because the soul is not able to disengage. You would think that an immortal being trapped in an avatar would be able to eject when the avatar became so damaged that it began to affect the ability of the senses to process information and give it to the soul, so the soul knows what's happening inside the construct. But when the soul doesn't know what's happening inside the construct and it's getting missed signals and all that, we interpret that by looking at him and saying that guy right there is autistic. But that's not really what's happening. And there's a bunch of them. There's a lot of psychoses. It's not the only one, but but autism is more mechanical malfunction. So I'm not an expert to really break all these things down. I just convinced that I'm an immortal being and I'm in an avatar, but that avatar isn't a part of me at all. This avatar is a part of the construct I have found myself in. The interactive dynamic between the environment and my physical avatar is very, very strong. You burn me, I will be in pain. If I don't have clothes on, it's 30 degrees outside, I'm going to be cold. These things, I am very much attached to the construct I'm in, but not my soul. My soul is able to experience alternate realities just by coming in contact with them. Just by listening to the voice of another soul projected through that soul's avatar, I can listen with my avatar and understand that a world is being built for me to enjoy. And I can enter that false reality and experience all the things that I would experience in the avatar. That's role playing, and it's very real. So because it's real for the artificial, then equally so, it's real for when it's intended to make direct changes to the holography. When I want to experience something and I project that and then I move in that direction, it's no different than the role playing game at all. So this is why the um, this timeless aspect, the timelessness only applies to the soul and the spirit, because everything inside the construct is governed by this sequential ordering of events. So if you're having dreams and you're dreaming of cataclysmic things, there is no way to ascertain if you're dreaming of things that have already happened in the construct, or if you're dreaming of things that are to come in the construct, or if you're just dreaming of the actual things that have happened repetitively in the program over and over. Because that's another aspect to the holography that I don't often talk about, that we are in a fixed medium, a holo field, and that we have passed through this many times. Some people get it right on the first pass, and they make the exodus. Others, like myself, who are hard-headed, have probably done this multiple times, but this time we're ready. And because we have awakened to the possibility that we are in a construct, the very construct itself is going to eject us. So I hope that answered your question. I really don't entertain a lot of questions about dreams. I don't. Oh, let's see. I'm looking for some all caps. Thank you guys for your donations. I really do appreciate it. They will probably end up in the pockets of Matt, Justin, John, Robin, Barry. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Wood Ranger. Woohoo! Catsacola. Thank you, Catsacola. I seen Meryl in there somewhere. Did I miss a Meryl question? She's always dropping them deep questions on me. I got to watch out for them. Did I miss a Meryl question? Matt Kubas, you're on probation, man. You missed 2 live videos. But I'm always thanking you for coming back, man. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So hat's getting hot. Yeah, I don't see. I can't go all the way up. Hey, Garden Goddess, Christine Mose, Mary Harris. I see a lot of names in here today. I'm scrolling to the bottom. We got any questions? And if any of you got some old books, old newspapers, old magazines and all that, you know I'm building the Archaix library. You know the things I have in my library I will share. We got a lot of Book Monkey videos being prepared. And the P.O. box to mail anything that you want to mail to me is in the description box right now. You can go look at the description box right now and see the post office box. And I appreciate those of you who have already sent things in. I showed off some belts and some artwork that was donated. Man, those belts are fantastic. Tom Sawyer. If I was role playing Kane, how would I be marked? That's a good question. That's a real good question. The question presupposes that the story of Cain and Abel is true and not a metaphor. So I don't know. That's right. Break free or die trying. 1,200 people listening, 900 likes. Can we get 1,000 likes, please? Please. Don't make Jason beg. Face Diaper, how you doing, man? You're always gonna keep it live, man. Let's see here. So many good books lately. I've been going through so much good material. Let's see. I'm reading one right now. Y'all are about to get a video on this one too. Here it is, right here on my desktop. It's the title of the book is Cyclical Deluges, like patterns of floods, written in the 1800s. I love it because this is when they were building their whole glaciation and ice age narrative, and this guy just goes through in the 1800s and destroys that shit. He destroys that shit. It was badass. It's badass. It really is. So, well, I'm going back to the top. See, let me go see what the date is on this book. You guys got this video coming real soon. I'm showing the actual pages in this book during this video because I want you guys to read exactly what he's saying, because he destroys this ice age glaciation stuff. He shows that all this physical geographical evidence, all these frozen mammoths and saber-toothed tigers, all this stuff that's been found all over the world, there's a whole nother explanation, and his explanation is genius, and it fits the facts. 1871. Published in London. Cyclical Delusions, an explanation of the chief geological phenomena of the globe. You have to forgive him for that. By proofs of periodical changes of the Earth's axis. Embracing a theory founded on geographical facts on the true geological formation of Carboniferous mineral. This book is good. I'm 75% done with it. And after I read the comments in this video, you guys know I have a tradition. When I'm done with the video, I'll take a break. Once YouTube has posted the live chat, I go in there and I read all the live chat. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna finish reading this book tonight. It's like 180 pages, and I'm 75% done with it. I've got to put a video on it. I know you guys don't have time to read and research all these, but I have highlighted all the text I'm going to read to you guys. I'm going to give you my commentary. I'm going to explain to you ice ages, glaciation. It's all bullshit. Yeah, Graham Hancock, all that stuff, man. I need a broom. We need to sweep that trash out of here. Getting tired of all this trash research being promoted to millions of people. It's getting on my nerves. I need to get me an Archaix broom. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Man. Let's see. 1 hour and 33 minutes. I'm looking for any questions in all caps. You guys are going off on that live chat, talking to each other, and all that's good. I love this community. I know you guys have developed a lot of strong friendships in here. I see you when I do podcasts on other channels. Many of you are all talking to each other. It's all good, guys. It's all great. Appreciate all that. I just saw somebody was asking about Archaix coin, but YouTube just flipped I was too far behind, so YouTube just flipped my deal. I can't get back to it, guys. Listen, the Archaix coins, if you pre-ordered your Archaix coins, don't worry, guys. You got them coming. So many of y'all ordered, we had to stop. We pre-ordered 100. Then the orders kept coming in, so we upped it to 150. We had to contact the company and said, hold on, we need to do a 200 coin order. So they're good. We're waiting. We were told on May 7th to expect our coins to come in. As soon as they come in, we've already got the whole list is waiting. We're going to mail them out to everybody. Excuse me. Everybody who's waiting on those coins, don't worry, it's coming. That was a big order. And we're not taking, please don't order any right now. We're not taking any more Archaix coin orders right now. We ordered however many we got coming. We're not taking no more orders. Look, next time we do a meetup, we might do those Archaix coins, or we may do a totally different coin, because that coin is awesome, and we may just want to keep it at very limited, a limited run, because we ordered 200, so we only had 40 to begin with. No, we had 50, but 250 is how many coins there are total. We had 50 minted, and then we turned around and had 200 minted. So we may wait a while and then do a second coin. Or we might do that same coin again, but another limited run. It all depends on what you guys tell us, because many of the things that we do, we're just following your lead. Because, like I said, I mean, this is Gilgamesh wrist. It looked like a watch to me. Somebody said, "What's on Gilgamesh's wrist?" It looked like a watch to me. It could have been just a jewelry banding. I don't know. Let's see. Yes, Don Hart had a Archaix coin turned into a silver pendant on a silver chain. It's beautiful. So far, she's the only one that had anything done like that. I'm seriously considering taking my Archaix. I only have one coin. Taking my coin and like this 1901 silver dollar. I'm thinking about taking my coin and mounting it to the front of my Harley, my motorcycle. I already have on either side of my motorcycle, I've got 1922 Morgan silver dollars mounted on the side of my motorcycle. On the front or on the back, I'm going to have that Archaix coin mounted on there. Just doing something different. You're welcome on the answer for the coins. I'm glad I seen it. I didn't know. Archaix TV launch party. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Indigenous creature. Listen, guy. Listen. Any idea when you will do the Native American presentation? Listen, man. I have so much on the Native Americans. Yes, I need to get to it. They're on my desktop in multiple files with images. Yes, I need to get to it. It's just, oh my God. People just don't realize how rich the Native American indigenous traditions are, how far they go back, how detail specific they are. There's so many. Yeah, guys, I could do a whole video on Native American traditions on just the flood. I could do another one on just giants. I could do another one on just the pre-flood world and the reign of Spider Goddess and the time of the hunters. Yeah, during the time of the hunters and the Great Smoke, animals grew to huge sizes, and there was even a time when the birds of the sky were feared because they could literally swoop down and pick a man up. Yeah, Native Americans have the most detailed memories of the vapor canopy world than anybody else in the world. You may find some in Africa that mirror, but they're not as rich. The Native Americans have some fantastic traditions. I'm going to get to it, I promise. Promise. Sam Carno. How you doing, Sam? You guys on Paranormies and stuff, man. You guys are going to debut the Archaix TV channel. We're gonna go hard on some tiny hats, and we're gonna talk about it. And it's gonna be one of the special features for Archaix.tv. Sam said, when did you realize yourself, brother? That realization that you are you and everything is one, and studying itself to all outcome, which is eternal in ourselves. Yeah, you know what? My awakening has been gradual. It's been gradual. Uh, a couple incidents in prison woke me up, but they were very temporary. One of them was the incident with Michael Mott, and I've shared that in 2 or 3 videos where an inmate got attacked by something in his cell, and he was the only one in there. And he got scratches and abrasions, and the whole cell was tore up, and he had claw marks on him, and the temperature was extremely cold, and the fluorescent lighting was on, bright, but it was dim in there. It was foggy and misty in his cell when we got the door open, and the picket boss opened the door in the tower. He opened the door. It was weird. We're looking into like a smoke, but it wasn't smoke. It was real cold, and it smelled terrible. And as soon as that door was open, though, Michael Mott ran out like a banshee. I'm screaming like a banshee. He ran all the way down the stairs, man, and hid in the shower. And then, yeah, man, that was some scary shit to me, because me and 2 other guys, we looked in the cell. We would not go in there. We looked in the cell. We saw, man, we've been listening from the day room, 3 stories down at 3 row, at him fighting something in the cell. That's why we ran up the stairs. And I know there's some other guys who remember this well. It was a really unusual affair. Texas prison. This was on the Terrell unit in Livingston, Texas, in the year 1996 or 97 when this happened. And it was right before it's maximum security prison, and they put death row there, and they changed the name to the Polunsky unit. I was there when this happened, and I ran upstairs, and that was my first awakening when, holy shit, this shit's real. Yeah, he fought a demon, and he was playing with satanic books and all. He was doing all kinds of weird stuff in the cell, and he quit doing that. The very next day, he was a Christian. 2 weeks later, he was baptized in the chapel. But that's the Michael Mott story. I hope one day that dude reaches out to me, man. He finds out about my channel, because I considered him a friend. Him and Lamberton. I believe Lamberton's been released, and if Lamberton, he was there too. If Lamberton ever reaches out to me, I'd be cool with that, man. I've had some good boys from way back then, man, that reach out to me when they find out that I'm on YouTube now. So that was my first one. My second one was I don't really know if I ever even talked about it on YouTube, because Barry mentioned it to the people that want to do the documentary today, and it hadn't been on my mind in a long time, because I told Barry years ago about different prison experiences, and I had told him about one that had made me cry, and I just couldn't stop. When I was telling the story, I couldn't help myself. It was I had stood up for somebody, and instantly earned the ire of 5 guys. All of them were Hispanic. And this peace came over me as we were fighting. And yeah, they were hitting me in the face, and some of them were hitting me in the back of the head, and they were kicking me. But this peace just came over me, and I just grabbed each one by one, and I choked one guy out. I remember one guy, I just picked him up, and I slammed him on the ground so hard he didn't have any fight left in him. I punched some other guys. I don't really remember a lot. I kind of just went into a zone, and all 5 of them guys were gone out of my way. They just kind of left me alone. And it all happened like really rapidly, but I was in a day room, and somebody hit me with something real hard. And right during all this, right when I cleared the area around me, and all the black guys and all the white guys, they're like all on the walls watching, because it's not their business, so they get out of the way. And until this day, I don't know what I was hit with, but I was hit so hard that it was like my spirit came out of my body. And in that it was like 10 seconds, but I'm telling you now, to me it felt like 15 minutes. It was just so surreal. When I got hit, I know I got knocked out, but when I got hit, I kept standing there, but I knew that I had been jarred loose from my body. And as soon as I was jarred loose from my body, I saw everybody as they really were. And all I saw was fear and pain. I saw all these expressions on these people that I wasn't looking at their avatars no more. I'm looking at souls that are in shock, in fear, and in pain and surprise. And I'm looking at a whole crowd of them looking at me, and we just shared a moment. And I just sat there and just looked. Like, wow, so surreal to me. And then I snapped out of it, but I never hit the ground. I know I was knocked out standing up, but when I shook the ground, I realized what was going on. 5 or 6 dudes all ran in and wrapped around this guy who just hit me with something and stopped him from hitting me again. And other guys got up, and another dude wanted to continue fighting, but he realized something had just happened. He just kind of backed away. He's looking at me, and I just it was so surreal. And we all sat down back in our respective benches, but for the rest of the day, the tone in the day room was just. I'll never forget. I looked at souls that were just, they were lost, they were gone, and they were looking at me like in terror or in awe or in shock or dismay, sad. They just had all these negative, it was all negative expressions. But anyway, those are the two, Sam Carnell, those are the two experiences I had in prison that they were temporary though, because I went back to believing in the physicality of the world, Newtonian universe, believing in the solar system, round globe, Earth, all that crap, all this stuff that's actually simulated. I went back to believing again. But I did have those experiences. But it wasn't until after I got out of prison and I had a bad motorcycle accident that I saw with perfect clarity that I am not a body. And I've told that story multiple times on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to tell it again here. That motorcycle incident woke me up. My very first YouTube video, there isn't a hint of simulation theory in it. I wasn't even moving in that direction. And then I had that motorcycle accident. And 1 year later, I released my next video, which was simulation theory. That's the name of the video. And then I made a promise in that video that if you stick with my channel, I promise you that I'm going to show you from the historical record that we are living in a false construct. And I have stuck with that promise, and I believe that I have fulfilled that multiple times. And I'm not done. But that was my second video, and it changed the whole direction of my channel. I don't know if that was a tangent or if I was still answering that shit. I don't know. Don't even know. Larry Bird. Jason, you think that's why abandoned prisons are creepy? Because all the tortured souls have been there, just like insane asylums. Listen, we can even take that to another level. Not just abandoned prisons and insane asylums. I'm not saying the ghosts or spirits are there, but energy is shed, especially in terror, anger, trepidation, fear, destitution, hopelessness. The spirit sheds its energy. Yeah. The spirit is cannibalizing itself. It's losing energy. So when it's in negative default mode like that, so that energy doesn't vanish or disappear. It infects that area of the construct. Also, some of you know what I'm talking about. If you're like me, you're hypersensitive and you get a real uneasy feeling when you walk into a hospital. Because what's going on in hospitals isn't what you think. Yeah, the whole idea of a hospital is actually contrary to what's really going on. Yeah, I can't even talk about this on this channel right now. That's for Archaix.tv. It's Archaix.tv, guys. That's all right. That's all right, Breezy Bree. You can go start back at the beginning here in a minute. I'm looking for anything in capital letters, man. Jason, are you ever going to get phone notifications so we don't miss the live videos? How is that on my end, Vicky? I mean, educate me. I don't understand. If you're not getting notifications from my channel, isn't that something on your end? You haven't hit the notification bell or something? That has nothing to do with me. I mean, I don't know. Educate me. I've been learning. I've been on YouTube for about 3 years now, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning about this. Seth Boyer, C.S. Lewis. What are your thoughts on his work? I just finished again his space trilogy. Don't believe in space. Just curious on what you think. Okay, look, you don't believe in space, but I'm going to argue the point that we're living in a construct right now, but that does not nullify that outside this containment field, there may be a real universe out there, and that what we're optically seeing is only a holographic reflection of a real cosmos. We can't access it from inside the construct. But I have not ruled out that there is a real universe out there. We're just not in it. We're inside of a construct. So, but concerning C.S. Lewis, at a very young age, before I ever went to prison, I've told this on my channel a couple times. My mom made me go to a library once a week and check out one fiction book and one nonfiction book. That was her rule. I fell in love with the Chronicles of Narnia and read them all twice. Lord of the Rings, I read it twice before I ever went to prison at 17. As a kid, I was very well read. Way before I ran away from home at 15 years old, I was already very well read. I spent my whole life reading. Yeah, the chat's moving faster than I can keep up with it. Rodney Gilead, I believe that many of us are kindred spirits. I believe that we have gone through the construct multiple times together. I also believe that sometimes members of our own family were very important to us in past constructs as well, and that some of us may know each other on the outside of the construct, and that the world and that the cosmos and the world is vast outside the construct. But a lot of you new people listening to me may find these things novel or discouraging, but you have to understand the whole concept of Archaix and what we're experiencing right now is not only is it not evil, but it's absolutely full of hope. You just haven't listened to those videos yet. You have to understand the whole paradigm here is not about doomsday and the Phoenix and Nemesis X object destroying the world and all that. No, there's even escape in that. No, I have often said that because God is eternal, then that means every aspect of the Godhead, the oversoul, would be unending. This means that there was no creation, and that the act of creating has never stopped. Therefore, if the act of creating has never stopped, then there's no end to the supply of new immortal souls that are brought into this multiplicity of worlds, this multiverse. So these simulacrums are set up, just like the one we're in now, are set up so immortal beings which cannot die can actually experience a false reality and experience things as real to their spirits as they could in a real universe where dying isn't even an option. They can't die. That's the whole purpose of this video, was to show you that we can, in a construct, build a false reality that feels very, very real to us because our feelings, our emotions, our experiences are completely done through spiritual means, not the avatar. We forget and neglect the avatar the more we immerse into spiritual activities. Spiritual activities is like pretending things are a certain way until they are. Yeah, that's the role-playing games do that all the time. So my point is if God is eternal and the creation is eternal and it's all unending, then these experiences that we're having right now are absolutely necessary for us to grow and mature. But the oversoul is so loving, it would never endanger us really. It would only put us in a situation where we thought we were in danger. Yeah, death isn't what you think. As a matter of fact, you can quote me a few times. I have told people death is the gate of the holy. And I mean that. I mean that. Archaix Observer. With 7 billion people in the world, do you think some of our souls or spirits have split? No. I am not ready to admit that there are 7 billion people in the world because you and I would never be able to distinguish between an NPC and a real individual. We wouldn't. NPCs are always kept at a different distance. They're always background. They're everywhere. But if you were to have true spiritual sight and be able to disengage from the central nervous system, when you go to Walmart, you would be very surprised at how few people there are actually not programming. I'm not buying into it. Yes, Dogman. I do plan to visit many ancient sites. Archaix on the Road is going to do exactly that. We're going to go to many, many places all throughout the United States that are enigmas, things that we want boots on the ground. We want to go check them out ourselves, do videos and discussions at those sites. There's a bunch of them right here in Texas. Yep. Hmm. Daniel Browse said, Jason, will you come to Australia? Lots of subs here. Yes, they are. Australia is a real archaic stronghold. Uh, I love you, Aussies and New Zealand. What the problem is I was invited to be the keynote speaker at an event in Australia 6 months ago, but it's very difficult. It's a lot of red tape. I have a criminal history, and it's very difficult for me to get approval to come over there. So yeah. I can go anywhere I want to in the United States. I'm absolutely free. I'm not on parole anymore. I got my voting rights restored. But when it comes to international travel, there's some countries I cannot pass through, and there's some countries that will not let me enter. Parallax. Why did your demon encounter in prison include D&D? That's not a question for me. That's a question for Michael Mott and what he associated the Dungeons and Dragons literature with. Yeah, to me it was never evil. To me it was all imagination and all that. But some people buy into the religious stigma because religionists basically point to every book in the world that's not a Bible to be some sort of evil. So yeah, that's and people buy into that and they play the game, but in their subconscious they're steady turning it over. Oh man, I'm involved in something real nefarious, real evil, and after a while it takes over and incidents like that happen. It opens up some type of portal, and they that that avatar, Michael Mott's avatar, got scarred up by something. So yeah, he said it came out of the book. Yeah, it's crazy. Whole thing's just crazy. Oh yeah, that van is made for that. That's where we're going to travel in. Hell yeah, that's the van vlog mobile. I'm not done with van vlogs. Told you guys, I will always have 500 more videos in me. I promise you. But I will say this. I will say this. I've already been talking for 2 hours, and I don't want to just ramble. $7.92. We know what 7.92 is, Mr. Recon. It was good meeting you. let's go ahead and close out this video because my throat may need a little attention. And I've had a pretty eventful day. It was a high stress day all day until the evening. Things just kind of petered out. I'm good now. But yeah, it's I want to finish reading this book before I go to sleep because I want to produce this video. I want to show you guys things that I've been telling you about, how the scientific community literally silenced everybody who was not on board with the evolutionary model and the invention of the ice ages and glaciation. And even today, you can Google this. There are 60 different theories that have been put out as to how ice ages could even be possible. The reason there's 60 is because each scenario promotes new anomalies that can't be explained by the other scenarios. That should tell you something. The whole thing's bullshit. And the fact that we have a 500-year-old map that shows Antarctica with mountains and valleys and coastlines should also tell you that it's all BS. So it's I need to get this book done. 1871. I'm gonna finish reading it tonight so you guys can get it. And I made a promise, and I'm gonna stick with it. Starting tomorrow, I will be uploading all of book 3 of the Phalorn saga. And I'm telling you now, we're getting close to the Battle of Barrowin. I'll make you this promise. There is no epic battle scene in any fantasy literature or books, anything even comparable to what you're going to read in the Phalorn saga. Yeah. Seriously. It's a single battle involving multitudes of different personalities, and you get to experience what the battle was like for like 12 different vantage points, 12 different types of creatures, both enemy and good guys. But it's a 360 of the whole battle. It's long, but it's action-packed, dramatic, emotional. It's called the Battle of Barrowin, and it's coming up fast in the Phalorn saga. So, I already took some slack though for the fall of Craniacs. A bunch of y'all got real attached to Craniacs. Sent me emails talking bad to me. I can't believe you killed Craniacs. Hey guys, you think J.J.R. Martin's bad? Tell you. All right, I'm gonna check out, guys. I love you. Take this damn hat off. My Dungeons and Dragons t-shirt, and I've had a good day. The day ended really good. It started off just drama. But I had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and post the links in the description. I mean, in the comment section for more of the free PDFs and all the different stuff that you can find, the charts. And I think all my announcements are done. And right now I'm just rambling. So I'm going to check out.